Hello friends, welcome to today's session on visible surface detection. This is the last topic under our fourth module, right? So which is called as visible surface detection. So under this topic, we'll be studying about what is visible surface detection, what are the different methods which are used in order to detect whether a surface is visible or it is hidden, right? So in visible surface, we are basically trying to identify which of the surfaces are visible, right? So that only those surfaces which are visible can be displayed on a display device. And we are trying to eliminate the hidden surfaces from the picture or a scene. So let us start today's session by first understanding what do we mean by surface detection, or why do we require surface detection. So given a set of 3D objects, so if I consider any 3D object and a viewing specification, we wish to determine which lines or surfaces are visible. We have to determine which lines or surfaces are visible so that we need not calculate or draw surfaces which are not seen by the viewer or which might confuse the viewer. That means if I take any object and click a picture of that particular object, right? So then if I'm clicking, say for example, from the front face, only front part of that particular object, right, should be visible to the user, right? So we have to hide the back face of the object, right? So that is what we mean by surface detection. So for 3D world, this type of surface detection is known as visible surface detection, or it is also called as hidden surface elimination. Sometimes in the exam, question will be asked as to explain hidden surface elimination and what are the different methods used in hidden surface elimination, right? So both mean the same. Either you are detecting the surface which is visible, so it is called as visible surface detection, or you are trying to eliminate the surface which is hidden, right? So it is called as hidden surface elimination. So visible surface detection or hidden surface elimination, it refers to those methods and algorithms which are basically used to determine which parts of which surfaces of a scene are visible from a chosen viewing position, right? So which parts or which surfaces of a scene you want to display or you want to make it as visible, it is directly proportional to the point, right? Or directly proportional to the to your viewing position, right? So that is why it is called as from a chosen viewing position. Consider a simple example. I have taken the example of a cube, right? So when all the lines are drawn in this particular cube, it is not so easy to determine which is the front face of the cube, right? Or which is the back face of the cube, right? So the example for a cube is a box, right? So I cannot easily say which is the front face of the box and which is the back face of the box, right? So is this the front face of the box or it is the rear face? So it is very confusing or it is very difficult to determine the faces here, right? So in order to do that, we are making use of the different methods in visible surface detection. We have few definitions here. The first definition is visibility culling, right? So visibility culling is nothing but culling. The meaning of culling is nothing but detecting, right? So visibility culling, it is nothing but it refers to the detection of which surface are completely visible with respect to the camera, right? So from the camera perspective, that means from the camera point of view, which particular faces are visible. So you take an example of this particular box here, right? So I am taking the front view of the camera. So if I see from the front, right, so this particular part of the box is visible, right? So that is what we mean by visibility culling, right? So detecting which surfaces are completely visible with respect to the camera. So the second definition here we have is the hidden surface elimination. So hidden surface elimination, it refers to the elimination of those parts of the surfaces which are hidden with respect to the camera, right? So if I take the example here, so if my viewing direction is from this side, right? So those faces which are hidden, right? So this back face of the box or the cube is hidden, this left side of the cube is hidden, and the bottom face of the cube is hidden, right? So we are trying to find those surfaces which are hidden, right, from with respect to my camera position or my viewing position, right? So if I'm taking this view of the camera, right, so we can say that only this particular part of the box is visible, right? So this particular part of the scene or the picture is visible. So the next definition we have is shadows. So what is a shadow? It refers to the determination of the parts of the surfaces which are hidden with respect to the light source, right? So when we get a shadow, whenever there is a light falling on it, right? So and we have the shadow formed, right? So you can see here I have a glass, right? So I can see the shadow of the glass, right? So this shadow of the glass, it refers to the those parts of the surfaces which are hidden, right? So because light is not falling on this particular or a part of the glass, right? So it becomes a shadow. Since the light is falling here, right? So this particular part of the glass is visible, whereas this surface is hidden, or it becomes a shadow part, right? So determining those parts which are hidden with respect to the light source, we call it as a shadow. These are the few definitions which you have to keep in mind while studying the visible surface detection methods. So coming to visible surface detection or hidden surface elimination algorithms, right? So the visible surface detection algorithms are basically grouped into two types. The first one is object space method, and the second is image space method. So what do you mean by object space method? So under object space method, we are comparing the objects and parts of the objects to each other within the scene definition to determine which surfaces are visible, right? So that means, I repeat, in under object space method, we are basically comparing the object, right? So we are seeing the object and parts of the object. We have different parts of the object here, so I'll be seeing the object and different parts of the object, and I will be comparing it with other object, right, within the scene, in order to determine which surfaces are visible, right? So that type of a method, we call it as the object space method. We are considering the objects which are a part of the scene, right? So and we are trying to find out which surfaces of those objects are visible. The next type of method is image space method. So under image space method, what happens is the image of that particular picture is projected onto the screen, right? So the visibility is decided point by point at each pixel position on the projection plane, right? So we are taking the picture of the object, and this particular scene of that particular picture, right? This particular scene is actually projected onto a plane, right? So once we have the projection on the plane, then we will identify, right, so which are the visible pixels and which have to be invisible pixels, right? So visibility is decided point by point at each pixel position on the projection plane, right? So we are trying to project the scene onto a projection plane, then we will decide which particular pixel I have to illuminate and I have to mark it as visible, and which I have to make it as invisible. So image space method are the most commonly used methods. Coming to object space, so object space algorithms, right, they do their work on the object themselves before they are converted to pixels in the frame buffer, right? So before going for the conversion of that particular scene into a pixel in the frame buffer, right? So just by comparing one object with other object, we are trying to decide which part of the object we have to make it as visible and which we have to hide it, right? So the pseudocode goes like this: for each object A in the scene, determine which parts of the object A are visible, right? So for each object A in the scene, determine which parts of the object A are visible and draw these parts in the appropriate color, right? So whichever part of the object A you are selecting it as visible, right? So only those parts you have to draw it with an appropriate color, right? So then compare the polygons in object A to other polygons in A and to polygons in every other object in the scene, right? So again, once we determine which particular part of that object should be displayed, we have to now compare that object with other object, right? So if at all there is any overlapping of the objects in the scene, right, so we have to compare that object with other object and finally identify which are the objects which has to be displayed in that particular scene, right? So this type of method, we call it as the object space method. So moving to the next one, which is image space method, right? So in the image space algorithm, what we do, whatever objects are there in the scene, those objects are first converted directly to the pixels in the frame buffer, right? So the objects in the scene are first converted to pixels in the frame buffer. So the pseudocode is like this: for each pixel in the frame buffer, determine which polygon is closest to the viewer at that pixel location, right? So whichever pixel or whichever polygon is closer to the viewer, right? So if he or she is if if at all the distance between that pixel and the viewer position is very less, that means that that part of the object or that surface of the object is closer to the viewer, right? So we have to determine which polygon is closest to the viewer at that particular pixel location, right? So those parts which are very close to the viewer, that means they can be seen or they are visible. So what we do, we color the pixel with the color of that polygon at that location, right? So here in image space method, what we are doing, we are trying to find the distance between the viewer and the pixel location. So if the distance is less, that means what? That means that particular surface or that particular part of the object is very close to the viewer, right? So that means it can be seen. The one which is very far, that means it is at a very long distance, right? So that particular part of the object can be taken as the invisible surface. Object space methods versus image space method, right? So consider each object space. What it does, it considers each object only once, draws its pixels and moves on to the next object, right? Whereas in image space, what we do, we consider each pixel only once, draw the part of an object and move on to the next pixel, right? So in object space, we are considering an object, we are drawing the pixels related to that particular object, and then we are moving to the next object. Whereas in image space, we are just considering the pixels of the object one by one, right? So the pixel which is visible of that object will be displayed, and then we will move on to the next pixel of the same object, right? So it might draw the same pixel multiple times because we are drawing the complete object at once, right? So in this image space method, we don't have this drawback, right? So because we are drawing pixel by pixel, right? But it might compute relationships between the object multiple times, right? So in image space method, we are computing the relationship between the objects multiple times, where in case of object space method, we are drawing the same pixel multiple times. So this is just a scenario as to how, right? So any picture or object in a scene will be stored in terms of a frame buffer, and then finally it will be displayed, right? So it will be displayed onto your display screen. So now moving on to the visible surface detection algorithms. So the visible surface detection algorithms are basically classified in under three categories. So we have the object space algorithm. So under object space method, we have the backface detection and method, right? So backface detection algorithm is an example of an object space method. Next we have image space method, right? So under image space, we have three types of algorithms. The first algorithm is Z buffer, right, or depth buffer algorithm, right? So since we are considering the depth here, so depth is nothing but our Z axis. That is why it is also called as the Z buffer or depth buffer algorithm. Next we have A buffer algorithm, and we also have scan line method under image space, right? So next we have hybrid. Under hybrid, we have depth sort or painter algorithm, we have area subdivision algorithm, and we have binary space partition algorithm, right? So like this, all the algorithms of your visible surface detection are classified basically into three categories. So moving to the first one, right? So which is called as the backface detection or culling, right? So backface detection means trying to find out which particular part or which surface of that object is backface, right? So what we have to do, we have to eliminate that particular backface, or we have to discard that particular backface, right? So that is what we mean by backface detection. So backface culling, right? So it is an object space algorithm. As I have told, it works on solid objects, right? So which you are looking at from outside. So from outside is nothing but your camera position. This is your viewer position, and you are trying to look at the object from this particular angle, right? So this part of the surface which is visible, right? So this will be displayed, whereas the back face of the object, this is the back face of the object, so that particular back face of the object you have to discard, right? So the simplest thing what we can do here is to find the faces on the backs of the polyhedra, and we have to discard them, right? So we have to find out which are the back faces in my object, right? And we have to discard them. So that is what we mean by back face detection. So in this backface detection, we have to find out, there are so many questions, right? So which way does a surface point, right? So what is the viewing direction and which is the backface direction, right? So here we make use of vector property of mathematics, right? That means we are using here scalar product. So what we are doing is vector mathematics, it defines the concept of the surface normal vector, right? So here we are considering a normal vector. So normal vector is nothing but a line which is drawn from that particular object, right? So it is a perpendicular line which comes out of the object, it is called as the normal vector, right? So whereas the view vector is nothing but from your camera position, how you are viewing that particular object, that is the view vector, right? So the view vector, this is the object, it is in the view plane. The vector which comes out of the view plane, we call it as the normal vector, and the vector which coincides, right, or which is hit into the view plane, we call it as the view vector, right? So we are taking a surface normal vector which is simply an arrow which is perpendicular to that particular surface, right? So that is my surface normal vector n, which is a point. Since it is a 3D object, I'm taking it as ABC, or you can write it as XYZ. So every planar polygon has a surface normal, which is a vector that is normal to the surface of the polygon, right? So given that this polygon is a part of the solid object, which we are interested in the normal that points out rather than the normal that points in, right? So we have to consider the normal which is moving out of the object rather than the one which is moving inside of the object, right? So what we do here now is, we'll say for example, I am considering a cube, right? So we have the two faces, right? So we are considering this face and this face. So this face is called as the surface 1 and this is called as the surface 2. So consider the two faces, so that is the surfaces of a cube and their normal vectors. So normal vector from surface 1 is called as n1, normal vector from surface 2 is called as n2, right? So vectors n1 and n2 are the normals to the surface 1 and 2 respectively. Then I have a vector L which points from the surface 1 to the viewpoint, right? So I have one more vector which is pointing from the normal n to the viewpoint, right? So this is my camera position. Now depending on the angle, right? So there is an angle between L and n1 and n2, right? So we have to decide that whether this particular surface is visible or it is may not be visible to the viewer, right? So depending on the angle between L and n1, right, and n2, right, and considering the n2, they may or may not be visible to the viewer. Okay, so if at all we define an angle as a theta to be the angle between L and N, then a surface is visible from the position given by L if at all we have 0 is less than or equal to theta is less than or equal to 90 degree, right? Or we can say 0 is less than or equal to cos theta. Here we are considering the cos of an angle, right? So we can calculate cos theta using the formula. We are making use of a dot product here, which is L dot N, right? So it is not a cross product. There are two types of products under vector mathematics. We have dot product, which is called as scalar product, and one more product which is called as the cross product, right? So which is vector product. So we are here we are considering the scalar product, which is L dot N, right? So which is nothing but magnitude of L into magnitude of N into cos theta, cos of an angle theta. So now determining N, what we do is we use this particular cross product between the in order to calculate N, right? So how to calculate this normal vector? To calculate the normal vector, what we do is we try to calculate the cross vector, cross product. The normal vector N is nothing but the cross product of the two vertices which are taken in anti-clockwise direction, right? So consider a polygon surface here. It has four vertices A, B, DE, right? So it has four vertices A, B, DE, right? So now I am considering a normal vector which is coming out of this particular surface, right? So we take the two vertices in the anti-clockwise direction, right? So vertex A and vertex B, right? So and I am taking this surface, right? So here I will get two vertices A and B. So N will be equal to A cross B. So vertices are given in a counterclockwise direction when we are looking at a visible side. So now in backface detection method, what we are doing is for every plane, for every point to check whether that particular object is visible or not, we are considering the plane equation, right? So if at all, right, ax plus by plus cz plus d, right? So if it is less than 0, then I am telling that that particular surface is visible. If it is greater than 0, then I am telling that it is invisible, right? So we know from before that a point x comma y comma z, it is behind a polygon surface, right? So it is behind means it is behind a polygon surface if at all it is ax plus by plus cz plus d, right? So that is my plane equation. So if at all it is less than 0, then it is behind a polygon surface where a, b, c and d are the plane parameters for that surface. So this can be made easier, right? So by organizing things, right, that means you can see in this particular slide, right, so how the backface detection algorithm works. So what we are doing here basically is, if object description have been converted to projection coordinates and our viewing direction is parallel to the z-axis, that means I have to consider that I am viewing from z-axis, right? So consider a 3D object here. So here I am having a pyramid, right? So this is my object, right? So if for this 3D object, right, so there are three types of axis, right? So we have x-axis, I have y-axis, and I have z-axis, right? So this is from the viewer's point of view, and now consider that I am trying to view from the z-axis, right? So my viewer is viewing from the z-axis, so I will have x as 0, right, y as 0, and vz, because viewer is viewing from z-axis, right? And now I will take the dot product, which is v dot n, right? So what is this n? N is the normal vector which is coming out of the polygon, right? So normal vector is nothing but any vector which is perpendicular to the surface object, right? So any vector which is perpendicular to the surface is called as the normal vector. So we have to consider the dot product of v and n, right? So v dot n will be equal to, what is your viewing direction? I am trying to view from the z-axis, right? So vz into c, right? So here c is a variable, right? So which is very, very important, right? So based on the sign of c, right, so the z component of the normal vector can be decided. That means whether I have to mark that particular surface of the object as visible or it is hidden, right? So that is dependent on c. So if I take a right-handed viewing system with the viewing direction along the negative z-axis, right, then, well, when I say the polygon is a back face, the polygon is a back face if c is less than 0, right? And c is equal to 0, normal has z component, since our viewing direction is grazing that polygon in the z direction, right? So that means I will consider the sign, if at all sign of c, if at all the sign of a c component is negative, right? So negative means c is less than 0, then that particular polygon surface is considered to be as the back face. If at all the value of c is positive, right, so positive means it is greater than 0, then I will positive sign. If the value of a c is positive sign, then I will take it as greater than 0, and then I say that it is a visible surface, right? So in a backface detection, what we are doing, we are just finding out the scalar product between the normal vector and my normal vector and my viewing view vector, right? So then we are equating it to vz into c, right? So vz is the direction of my z axis, so it is 0 0 1 here, right? So and then we have finding out the value of my variable or a constant here, which is c. If at all c is a negative for that particular surface, I say that it is a back face. Negative means it is a back face, right? So if at all it is not negative, then I say it is the front face, or it is called as the visible surface, right? So we can simply say that if z component of the polygon surface is less than 0, then the surface cannot be seen. That is what. If at all, if it is less than 0, then it is a back face. Back face means the surface cannot be seen, right? So if I take this particular object and you are viewing from this direction, then this part, right, so the one part which is not shaded, which is in white, that particular part is the visible part of the object, whereas the one which is shaded here, right, so this particular part becomes the back face of the object. So when you are viewing from the z-axis, only this part of the object you can see, whereas this part is hidden, or it is considered to be as the back face, right? So once you detect the back face, what you are doing, you are trying to remove that particular back face, and you are trying to display only the visible surface on your display device. So this backface detection method is also used as a pre-processor, right? So before applying any of the other visible surface detection algorithms, right? So whenever I have to apply any visible surface detection algorithm, first what I will do is I will try to eliminate all the back faces, right? So that all the back faces, so that it will be easy for me to identify only those surfaces which are visible, right? So we'll do this back face detection as a pre-processing step. So what are the advantages or disadvantages of your back face detection? The advantages, it is very easy, right? So but it can be used only for the solid objects, right? So only for the solid objects I can use. I cannot use the backface detection for other type of objects, and it requires lot of memory, right? So if I remove the top or front face of the cube, that means if the object is a hollow, right, and suddenly we can see inside and our algorithm falls over, that means it fails, right? So if at all you have a object, right, so which is not a solid object, right? So at that time where it is very difficult to identify which is the front face and which is the back face. So we can say that it works for convex polygons, right? So it is basically backface detection algorithm works fine for convex polyhedras, right? So but it does not work for concave polygons, right? So example of partially hidden face that will not be eliminated by backface removal, right? So if at all I have concave polygons, right, so at that time it will be very difficult for me to identify which is the front face and back face detection algorithm will not work for concave polygons. So these are the limitations of back face detection algorithm. So the next detection algorithm what we are using here is depth buffer method. Depth buffer method, it is also called as the Z buffer method, right? So why it is called as the Z buffer or the Z buffer method? Because here we are considering the depth, right? So depth is nothing but our Z axis. So it compares what the main idea of this depth buffer method is very simple. It will just compare the surface depth value throughout a scene for each pixel position on the projection plane, right? So that means what we are doing is, if I have a view plane, right, so and this is my scene, right, so the I will be comparing the pixel position of each of the pixel point on the scene, right, with respect to the view plane, right? So if the distance is less between the view plane pixel point and the point on the surface, right, so then that means this is a visible surface, right? So as you can see here the Z axis distance will be less if I take the view plane point and the first surface point, which is x1, y1 and z1, right, it is very close to it, right? So if at all any surface of the object is close to the view plane, that means what, this is can be considered as the visible surface, right? So if I take the x2, y2 and z2, it is little bit far from the view plane, right? So one mere surface I have, which is x3, y3 and z3, which is still far from the view plane, right? So like this we are calculating the depth based on the depth, how far it is. If it is very far, that means it is a invisible face or it is a back face, right? So we have to remove that, right? So if the depth is less, then that means that particular surface is visible surface. So what we are doing, we are comparing the surface depth value throughout a scene for each pixel position on the projection plane, right? So it is basically applied to those scenes only containing the polygons. It is very fast approach, right? Because of easy depth value computation, because here we are basically calculating only the depth values, right? So we say that the depth buffer method is very easy, and it is also called as the Z buffer method or the Z buffer method, right? So here you can see, here we have x1, y1, x2, y2 and x3, y3 as the pixel positions of the surfaces s1, s2 and s3 respectively. And I have my z1, z2 and z3 which define the depth value, right? So they define the depth values of the surfaces s1, s2 and s3, right? So respectively from the view plane, right? So from the view plane, how far these surfaces are, that is what we mean by our depth values, right? So the depth buffer algorithm works like this. The first step, right, is I have to initialize the depth buffer and the frame buffer, so that for all the buffer positions x comma y, right? So initialize here we are considering two buffers, right? So one is the depth buffer and the other is the frame buffer, right? So inside the depth buffer we'll be calculating the depth of the pixel, right? So from the view plane, and inside the frame buffer I'll be telling that whether that particular the corresponding pixel position has to be marked as visible or it has to be made it as invisible, right? So initialize the depth buffer and the frame buffer, so that for all the buffer positions x comma y, we have depth buffer initially x comma y is 1, right? So I'm making the depth buffer as 1, and the frame buffer will be equal to the background color, right? So whatever is the background color, so that background color I'm setting for my frame buffer. Then what I will do is I'll process each polygon in a scene one at a time, right? So initially what I'm doing, I'm making my depth buffer as 1 and my frame buffer will be set to the background color. Then I will take the first surface on a scene, right? Process each polygon in a scene, right? So this is what we mean by the polygon in a scene. Process each polygon in a scene one at a time. process each polygon in a scene one at a time, right? So for each projected x comma y pixel position of a polygon, calculate the depth z, right? So for each pixel point here, I am calculating the depth z, right? So if at all the z is less than the depth buffer, right? So then compute the surface color at that position, right? So if at all the z distance, z value is less than the current value, right? So then what I have to do, I have to make that particular surface as visible. If at all z is less than the depth buffer, compute the surface color at that position, what is the color, and set the depth buffer x comma y is equal to z, and frame buffer will be the color, surface color of that particular surface, right? So after all the surfaces are processed, the depth buffer and the frame buffer will store what? They will store the correct values, right? So every time you are trying to find out the distance between the view plane and the projected polygon, right? So if at all the depth buffer is lesser than the view plane, then this will become your view plane. Like that we are doing this iteratively, right? So that we can find out which particular surface of the scene is close to the view plane, right? So the one which is closer to the view plane, we are selecting the depth of that particular surface and also the color of that particular surface, right? So the frame buffer will be stored with the surface color and the depth buffer will be stored with the current depth value of that particular scene. So in order to calculate, right, so for the depth buffer, we have the calculation like this. Suppose ABC is a surface and the equation of the surface, since it is a plane equation, we'll take it as AX plus BY plus CZ plus D is equal to 0, right? So from this equation, what I will get CZ as equal to minus AX minus BY minus D, right? So CZ will be equal to minus AX minus BY minus D, right? By moving all those values on the other end of the uh, equals, right? So from this I'll be able to calculate z, because here we have to calculate the depth, right? So which is z, so z will be equal to what? Z will be equal to minus ax minus by minus d divided by c, right? So call this as equation 2. Now if I take for a line position, so what we are doing here is line by line we are trying to find out, right? So just like how we are able to fill the scan line polygon we were filling, right? The same way here, consider the polygon surface here. If this is the visible surface now, right? So what I have to do, always the polygon is filled from bottom to top and it is filled from left to right, right? So that means if it is y position here, the next position it will be y plus 1, right? So like this we are moving to the top of the y axis, right? And x slope, how it is calculated, it is nothing but x dash will be equal to x plus 1 by m, right? So this we have already discussed in your scan line filling algorithm, right? So for a line position, if the next line position of y will be equal to, always it is incremented because we are moving from bottom to top. So y is equal to y plus 1 and x value is calculated by making use of the formula x dash is equal to x plus 1 by m, right? So these x dash and y dash are nothing but the next pixel values of x and y respectively, right? So now what we have to do from this equation, right, 2, right? So the next value of z will be equal to what? This is the initial value of z. So the next value of z will be equal to z dash, which is equal to minus ax dash minus by dash minus d divided by c, right? So in this equation, I will be replacing x dash by x plus 1 by m and y dash by y plus 1, right? That is what I have done here, right? So z dash will be equal to minus a of what is x dash. X dash is nothing but x plus 1 by m minus b into y dash is y plus 1 minus d divided by c, right? So solving this, just multiply minus a inside, you will get minus ax minus a by m minus by minus d, right? Minus b whole divided by c, right? So minus ax minus by minus d divided by c and minus am, right? So I'm taking minus common here, so I will get am plus a by m plus b whole divided by c. So what is this minus ax minus by minus d divided by c? This is nothing but our previous z value, right? So just substitute that, you will get z dash will be equal to z minus a divided by m plus b whole divided by c, right? So this is the equation which is basically used to calculate my depth buffer pixel value, right? So which is the next pixel in order to display. So I will get it as we can generalize this z value or the depth value as zk plus 1 is equal to zk, right? So that is the previous value is zk, the next value is k plus 1, right? So zk plus 1 will be equal to zk minus a divided by m plus b whole divided by c, right? So this is the generalized form of your equation which is basically used for depth calculation. So this is how you are iterative calculating, right? So you're always moving from bottom to top, right? So if this is y scanon, this will be y minus 1. If this is y minus 1, this will be y, right? And the x axis is always moving from, if we are calculating the first pixel x, the next pixel will be x dash, right? So to calculate x dash, you are making use of the formula x plus 1 by m, right? So the main disadvantages of your depth buffer algorithm is this method can be used only to find out one visible surface at each pixel position, right? So that means it can you can deal easily with your opaque surfaces, right? But whenever you have transparent surfaces, this particular algorithm cannot be used, right? So this algorithm can be used only for opaque surfaces, right? Opaque surfaces, right? So where the object is a solid, right? So and the behind the surface is invisible, right? So if I take opaque surface, the next part will not be visible, right? So the first part is visible, the next part will be done. If at all it is a transparent, means what should happen, right? So the green color should be displayed here. If at all I take it as a transparent surface, right? So then this part should be red color, and this part which is overlapping with green color, if at all it is transparent, then I should have green color here, right? So then again here, since it is a transparent, again I should have a blue color here, like that, right? So this algorithm or the depth buffer algorithm, it cannot work for a transparent surface, it works only for the opaque surfaces. So in order to have work for the transparent surfaces, we have one more algorithm which is called as the A buffer algorithm, right? So the A buffer algorithm is an advancement on the depth buffer algorithm, so that we can identify the visible surfaces in a transparent objects, right? So the A buffer algorithm is not there in your syllabus, right? So just to overcome that disadvantage of depth buffer, the algorithm which is used is called as the A buffer algorithm. So this completes your visible surface detection part, right? And also your fourth module. Thank you.